it's hopefully a short one, because today we're looking at South Park The Stick of Truth on PS4, which was bundled with the South Park The Fractured Butthole Collector's Edition. And certain pre-orders, and maybe some people bought it as additional DLC on the side. Point is, it was released on PS4 alongside this game. Now, I don't know if other people have already commented on this or done videos on this, but it's 2017, so you would think that the censorship boards, i.e. PEGI or ESRB, would have lightened up a bit and actually allowed this game to be released in Europe as a complete game, i.e. no censored content, no cut content, it's all there. What you pay for is what you get. You would think in 2017, you know, but apparently the powers that be at Ubisoft or however you wish to pronounce it, decided to once again release South Park The Stick of Truth in Europe censored. Now, I do realise that it's not just in Europe that this game is censored, and in certain regions of the world it's only certain parts that are censored, and some parts that are censored in the European region are not censored in others. The point is, the United States gets the full game. Now, this wouldn't be an issue for me if Ubisoft was an American company, because an American company has to watch out for its investments abroad. However, France. Ubisoft is based in France, which, last I checked, is in Europe. Now, while it might be true that South Park Fractured Butthole and South Park Stick of Truth may be developed and constructed and put together in a facility or an office or a department based in Montreal or wherever, the United States or Canada, the fact remains that Ubisoft, the main company that publishes games worldwide, is based primarily in France, which is a European country. So you would think that they would allow the ratings boards of each individual country within Europe to make up their own mind as to what content is allowable. Now, back in 2013, I could understand this content might not be suitable. Back in 2012, this content might not have been appropriate. But here's the thing. The content which has been censored is content which is, to my opinion, very much in the humour and style of South Park. So anybody buying a South Park game, if you are sensitive to certain topics, you would have stopped playing the game after about, say, the first hour and a half, maybe a push, and you would have requested a refund or taken it back to your local game shop. If you're, like me, a South Park fan, you kind of know what to expect, and you always know that Trey and Matt are willing to push the boundaries of what is acceptable in television and games media. So it comes as a complete surprise to me that a game with the label South Park would have any censorship on it whatsoever. Warnings, I agree with. Trigger warnings, perhaps, before you start up the game, saying, please be aware that certain content in this game is obscene and may be unsuitable for persons with certain mental health disorders or PTSD or, depression or other emotional problems. So you're forewarned going into the game that certain scenes in this game are of the controversial nature. That would be fine, because then it's giving you the decision. Or here's an idea. like in previous video games of old, there was options in the main menu to turn off violence, to turn off gore, to turn off certain things in games which you may find offensive. I remember, for example, in what was it? Brutal Legend. There was an option to turn off swearing in the game. So it would censor swearing because apparently swearing is more dangerous than the violent gun crimes of America. What I find really irritating about the censorship of this game is whilst these companies, these executives are willing to sell you a game that is a full product and then tell you that, well, you got the full product but you kind of didn't. You kind of didn't because we decided that we were going to hold back those parts of the product. Now, for DLC reasons, I can understand it. Games are becoming more expensive to make. You need to make the additional money, so slicing off pieces of the game that were originally in the game, I get it. Up until this point in 2017, I was pretty happy with the deliveries of Ubisoft games. I thought actually they're not doing too bad a job. I was happily surprised with Ghost Recon Wildlands, even though not everyone liked it. I liked other games that they released this year that I liked. I actually did like The Division, despite its flaws. I wasn't too happy about the fact that they made it multiplayer in certain areas of the game, but they were trying to do a Destiny thing. So, yeah, okay, fair enough. I've now played Rainbow Six Siege, so I can't speak to that. But anyway, there are a few games that came out from major developers this year that were brilliant, and I thought Ubisoft was doing particularly well for 2017. Until this. Now, the question raises in my mind, did they actually resubmit the Stick of Truth for any sort of screening through the censorship boards, or did they play it safe and actually not put it up for review and just basically remove the content ahead of time just to hedge their bets and put it behind a wall of saying, yeah, we're not going to even try and be offensive with this. And yet, whilst these companies are doing this and censoring this content in games, in the news media, in BBC News or Sky News, we hear about rape, child molestation, we hear about brutal murders, sadistic killings, terrorist attacks. We hear about all kinds of horrendous, violent atrocities committed by people in the real world, the real things that are happening in the real world that are going on all around us all the time, every day, that we can't avoid when we're watching the news. It's one of the reasons I stopped watching the news, because it's bloody depressing. And I just find it really hypocritical that, we won't censor books are fine, we won't censor the news is fine. But when it comes to movies or video games, all of a sudden, yeah, we need to censor those. Movies have got much more of a free range and free license in the recent years, but games are still under the heavy boot nail of, oh, you can't show that in video games because it's wrong, it's sexist, it's misogynistic. The thing is, people don't take a piece of art at the Louvre, or the Louvre, or however you pronounce it, because I obviously can't do it. They don't look at, say, for example, the Statue of David and say, well, that's offensive because it's got a penis. They say, that's art, right? There's a difference between art and artistic license and just obscenity for the sake of obscenity. While South Park and Family Guy have pushed those boundaries quite far to the wall, they're not being obscene for obscenity's sake. There is a method to the madness, there's a logic to the actual reasoning behind it. And with South Park, The Stick of Truth, and hopefully the uncensored Fractured But Whole, it's just, it's done as part of the context of the game. I mean, seriously, there are episodes of the TV show that have probably contained more graphic things in them that are aired freely on TV. And yet, because they're not backed by a major network, because it's a video game, all of a sudden, no, sorry, we're not going to publish that. If they had published this through EA, we wouldn't even get a decent game because, well, let's face it, EA just want to rip apart anything that comes across their desk. They devour it, consume it, and spit it out as the once begotten studio that was on the ground. I can name a few studios that have done that too, but we're not here to talk about EA. We're here to talk about Ubisoft's decision to not make any attempt to bring the full content of this product to us here in the UK or other members of the European countries. Not European Union, European countries. So I assume that's any country that's classed as being on the European continent. Although, according to Eurovision, Russia's now part of Europe. Because if I recall correctly, they did participate in the last Eurovision Song Contest, I think. Could be wrong, but I think they were in that one. And last I checked, they're not part of Europe, they're part of the Asia continent. Oh well, whatever. Anyway, so let's show you what I'm talking about. The censorship in the game. Warning for anyone progressing any further in this video. Some images may be unsuitable proceeding, but I doubt it because it's bloody censored. So here we go. What are we looking at?
I hope you're as happy as we are. Everything is going to be better now that we're in this quiet little mountain town.
What's happening here? By the way, spoiler alerts. Spoiler alerts. If you have never played this game, spoiler alerts. Loading screen, loading screen. We all love the loading screen. Oh, here we go. Oh, there it is. There it is. Look at that. Censorship. It actually tells you what it's censoring. It tells you right there what it's censoring. Oh, and now we got a little bit of a cutscene where we get introduced to what is about to potentially happen. Oh, this is going to be funny. Oh, wait, no. We don't get any fun at all. At all, it is completely removed from the game. And now we're left in a situation where we have no idea what just happened, we have no idea what's about to happen, we have no idea what's going on at all. All we know is we're suddenly now on an alien spaceship, potentially probed by something. And something's about to happen which will change the gameplay. Let's just have a look, see.
Is this your first time getting probed? Yeah, it's a pain, but this is the kind of stuff you put up with living in a remote little mountain town. At least we don't have to deal with traffic. Hey, you broke free! Kid, you have an incredible control of your asshole. Get me loose too!
So, we've just been told that we've apparently broken free of an alien contraption. But how? When? What did we do? What significant part of the puzzle of gameplay are we now missing that we may potentially need in the future of this game to know about in order to progress through the game? oh, sorry, we can't tell you that. If you want to see this content, you need to look it up on YouTube, which you can do. You can freely look up the censored scenes and imagery on YouTube. But why should we have to do that? We bought the game, we paid for the game, everything that's in the game should be in the game. So why are we getting these censorship awards? And two, in the space of, what was it, 5 seconds, 10 seconds of footage before we got the second censorship message. And the worst part is, I played this game all the way through on the PlayStation 3, right, all the way through, and I can honestly say that with all the content that's in this game that isn't censored, it makes me wonder why they bothered censoring any of the content in this game at all. Apparently there was one part of it where there's a swastika in it, and they had to censor that because of apparently some people in Germany don't like images of the swastika. I mean, part of that's understandable, but when you think about it on balance, are you marketing to the people who are sensitive to the subject, or are you marketing to the people who are South Park fans who watch the show and realise that the content is not intended to be offensive, it is intended to provoke a response of a, well, you really did kind of just say that, didn't you? I mean, come on. Did you have to say that? I mean, on the one hand, it's designed to provoke a humorous response, like a giggle, a laugh, you know. And on the other hand, it's there to provoke a cerebral response. A response that says, yeah, you know what? There's a reason why this content's in this game, and it's not just to make people laugh, and it's not just to be offensive, it's to point out the hypocrisy that exists within our society. Ironically, thinking about it, the swastika is a symbol of Nazi Germany, and Nazi Germany was famous for censoring any content that was unflattering of the Führer. So, I mean, I know people are going to flag this video because it mentions Nazis or Hitler or censorship in the Nazi Germany era, but the thing is, I'm trying to present a factual historical evidence as a linking to this arbitrary environment which we live in, where good content is being censored because people are overly sensitive to various subjects. Like I said, this content isn't meant to be for those who are sensitive to the topics that are censored. It's not intended to be marketed to people who have PTSD, who have been through a traumatic experience. It's intended to be marketed to fans of the franchise who parted with good money for the game. Here we are, the second time this game has been brought out on a games console, the previous one being the PlayStation 3, right, where we are not getting the full content. And I don't even know where the ball lies, whether it's with the South Park team who wrote and created the game. I don't know whether it's with Ubisoft, the publisher. I don't know whether it's because Montreal turned around and says, yeah, we're going to censor this when we release this in Europe and Australia and other places because we don't want to run the risk of not making money on this game. I don't know whether it got as far as the PEGI or ESRB bodies of censorship. I don't even know if it made it that far, because reading online there are people saying that, well, it was Ubisoft's fault, well, it was the ratings board's fault, well, it was this group, well, it was that group, it's Germany's fault, it's this country's fault. It's like, I don't know where the blame should go to. But I did send a nice helpful rant to Ubisoft in a support email stating quite explicitly that this is not acceptable in 2017. I mean, we've had a game this year, Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, that deals specifically with a person suffering from what I believe is schizophrenia. That's the main character in the game. She suffers from schizophrenia or paranoid delusions, that sort of thing, which addresses people with mental health issues and makes them feel like part of the community as opposed to a side group, a niche, a group that you don't want to associate with. It actually brings to light and to a vast community the fact that people like this can be heroes, can be part of the story, can be the main focus of the subject and not just that person awkwardly standing in the corner. I myself suffer with social anxiety and I've suffered with depression, and I can also claim to have suffered from various levels of abuses myself. I understand that being in an abusive environment or having suffered at the hands of abusive people, the trauma that can bring. But I am playing games to kind of alleviate and relieve myself of the stresses of what's going on in the world and all the stress and all the bullshit that's going on in the Houses of Parliament and the White House and other political bodies around the world. I'm playing games to get away from all this bullshit, political, hierarchical, bleh. You know, that's the reason I play games. And having this sort of content that makes me laugh, yes, probably for the wrong reasons, I admit, I probably shouldn't laugh at some of the content because of its, subject material. However, it does make me laugh and I can't argue that. I can't argue the fact that this provokes an emotional response in me that is humorous. I can't explain that. I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a neurologist. I don't know enough about the brain's mechanical or psychological functioning to give you an answer to the question of why do we laugh at things that are highly inappropriate and really just inappropriate to laugh at. I can't tell you that. If you want that, you're going to need to find somebody with a degree in neuroscience or psychiatry or psychology, one of the three. Pick one, choose one, do one, right? Ultimately, what I want to say about this is it's also a cartoon, right? It's an animation. And by the way, can I just point out the one great thing about this game is the way it's kept the animation style so true to the TV show. It's brilliant. That's one thing I do love about this game, but I attribute that more to the South Park developers than I do Ubisoft publishing team. I do think it's quite tongue-in-cheek of Matt and Trey to put in these little message boards when you do get censored content where it says, by the way, there was content here, but we had to remove it. I do think it's actually quite funny to see those images in the game because it's a conscious effort on Trey and Matt's part to call bullshit on the censorship situation that exists in our culture. And we live in a world where we have to hear on the news about 8-year-olds getting pregnant, or 8-year-olds getting married, or 8-year-olds being sold into child slavery or abducted or otherwise abused. And yet this game, which is meant as a satirical take on the world, anybody familiar with the South Park show will understand what I'm trying to say here, right? Understands that this is satire, this is comedy, this is designed for relief of a situation. So you can look at somebody getting abused, say, but it's not abuse. It's more how the characters respond to the abuse around them that's funny. It's the fact that the children in the show and the game are actually seemingly more grown up and more intelligent than the adults around them. Even in their own little imaginary game worlds that they create, such as the wizard battles and the superhero battles in the sequel to this title. Even in their own little worlds, they still recognise, by the way, there's still a real world going on around us. We still have to, participate in this real world. So this game is amazing. It's only mired by the fact that it's censored. And again, I point out it's censored in 2017. So a game that's been out for, I think, 4 to 5 years now. I can't actually remember when the Stick of Truth was released originally on PS3, but it's been some time, enough time for them to go back to the ratings boards and say, look, we want to re-release this game on PlayStation 4 in 2017 alongside the Fractured Butthole, and we'd like to get the full content through. So Ubisoft or South Park development team could have gone to the ratings board and pled a case and said, look, we really want to put this forward and say that we think it's only fair to the fans now that we're re-releasing the game, that we put out the full game, not a half measure. They didn't. And what's worse is, like most games publishers and games developers, they haven't released a statement publicly saying, we wanted to include this, but we were told no by this person. Or, we wanted to include this, but we decided not to in certain regions because of this reason or that reason. At which point, you could then raise a petition or a topic. I mean, the fact that they don't include it as an option in-game, like, for example, if I go to options, there's no option. Look at it, I mean, it's a bare bones option system, which is fine for this game, but there's no option here, or even on the main menu even, to actually change what content you cannot view. There really isn't. It's ridiculous to me that we live in an age where this kind of censorship practice still exists. There are games that feature the ability to turn off gore or blood in the games, and I think in Germany I heard one news story saying that they censored the swastika from the Wolfenstein games in Germany. Now, to me, Wolfenstein without the Nazi symbols and Nazi theme doesn't make any sense. And I'm sure to a lot of Wolfenstein fans in Germany, they're probably not playing the censored German version of the game. They're probably importing the original version of the game because they realise that it's a game and nothing more. This video is probably going to get flagged or taken down or whatever. YouTube is doing whatever it's doing. But ultimately, I just want to leave it on this point of like, I just still can't believe that this game is censored in 2017. With all the news we've heard about, with all the things going on in the world, in the actual real world that are so horrendous to me, how is this still censored in 2017? Why? What is the reasoning? What is the logic? Whose fault is it? Where do I send a petition? Where do I sign up to join a group of people who go and say, oi, give us the full game we paid for? I mean, microtransactions and DLC is one thing, but locking content out just because, well, just because. Anyway, that's where I'm going to leave this video because I'm aware that previous videos have gone on far too long. So thank you if you choose to watch this video, like and subscribe, and if I do put up more videos, I hope you'll watch those too. Thank you for watching. And that's where I try and end the broadcast. Stop broadcast! How do I do this? Oh. How does one stop this thing? Oh, there we go. Stop broadcast.